Hello. I, that was quite the like I feel like I've done that the fastest, but because of that, I definitely was like faulty in leaving you on a black screen and all that stuff. But hi, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. It is not Monday, it is not Friday. I will for sure not have a live on Friday because the 48-hour film project starts on Friday. But I might come back tomorrow. Depends on how much we get through today because it seems like not much, but also a lot is happening in the Blake Lively world. And I've just needed a break. I needed a vacation. I was watching Lawrence live earlier and I was like, I don't want to hear from Blake Lively anymore. Oh my gosh. My friend was talking about Gossip Girl and I'm like, I cannot look for a second at Blake Lively right now. It's like so much that I've talked about her, or like seen her or read what she says or whatever that it's like nails on chalkboard. So, anyways, but hi everyone, Maria and Angel and Arnaldo, you're all here. I don't know, do you guys see this top fans situation? That's new and I have no idea what that means. I think it says like based on who comments first or something. I don't know. I also took a break to refresh. Yeah. Yeah. I will talk somewhat about the 90 Day Fiance world, which I know you guys don't do 90 Day Fiance. But I didn't even think I would watch this version of it. It's like Happily Ever After, where some of the couples get married and then it's like, what happens next? I didn't think it was going to be that interesting or that I would want to watch it or whatever. But there's this guy Gino. And I feel like he's such a cliche of many men that are like just crybabies for like, oh, I'm not affectionate with her because we fight all the time. And then like zero mirror of like, oh, it's because of me or partially because of me or whatever. And not just men, honestly. And then like, let me go to this other greener pasture over here. Oh, I am attracted to you because we don't fight, you don't like nag me, blah blah blah, until the next episode, when he's like, "Oh yeah, you're a human being too." Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm like, I want to talk about this guy, and not just that guy. Also, like, I'm not from Moldova, but I kind of took it personally. Some things that I was just shocked that people were not saying you're taking your family and your kids, your young kids to Moldova, which is like bordering Ukraine, and the whole conflict right now happening. And Moldova, the reason that they are an independent country is because they were a territory way back in the day, and then there was a unified Romania, and then Russians took Moldova, and then we got some back, but then some stayed there and some became independent as a result anyway. So I'm like, no one's talking about that elephant in the room, the war that's going on there, but you're talking about like not having dishwashers, which I don't know Moldova, but I'm pretty sure they have dishwashers if they really can afford it. Like it's not like a closed country. It made it seem like so crazy anyway. So yeah, so I want to talk about those. Honestly, as far as the Blake Lively thing, I have not really read much, so it's kind of like we're going to figure it out back like the olden times a few months ago when all of us were all kind of reading things for the first time and didn't know what we were to expect. And then I started coming into this like, oh, things are happening. I'm just going live, 2 times a week or whatever, and things are happening in between. So I would get a lot of the news from other content creators, or I would have time to like read it beforehand and all that and digest it. And I'm like, it's not that week. It's not that week. I am overwhelmed by the 48-hour film project thing. And yeah, I don't know. Anyways, but welcome. That was a long introduction. I also already kind of talked about what I will talk about. I'm very curious. Does anyone has anyone done Zumba here? This is not a Zumba thing. This is line dancing situation, boots on the ground. Have you done Zumba or that? I got my own fans finally. So I'm like really curious. They literally I just came into the house like 5-10 minutes before 9:30. That's why I was late, and I saw that they had come. I don't why have things become like tougher to like open? I don't know. And so I'm like really curious about these fans. Hold on. Just for my memory, this is the one that is not in this white one. Um, this one has tape on it. Um, Understandable, yeah. Have you guys been watching other content creators on the Blake Lively besides Maria, who also took a break? I don't know. It's just also not much was happening for a while too. Not directly. All right. So let's see. When I was little, I used to love fans and the idea of fans. This is pretty cool. It looks really like Amazon said it looked. Like, no surprises. It's actually, yeah, it's, like, it's a little slower. I don't know. No, yes. Okay. Um, so you probably know more than me. Because I didn't even look at other people's content creation thing. Sorry to like be so like about me right now, and sorry if that's too loud too. Okay, that I don't think as cute as this is, it will glitter the whole dance floor, and it actually didn't. Maybe I was just too scared also to like. This is pretty. I like this more. And now, because I'll have my own, I can literally just take this with me, and in between, when we're waiting between songs, I can just fan myself. There's Boots on the Ground, and then there's Bad Girl, I think, by Usher was the last one that we did. And yeah, no, I have glitter, kind of. I hate glitter. I, I have a phobia of glitter for sure. Anyways, all right. So, fans out of the way for me. Let me pull up things. There was something else that I wanted to share as far as like what was new. Hold 1 second. Oh boy. I had to grab my. Oh, that smells like glue. It's like almost they literally made it and sent it. It smells like. Glad that my parakeets aren't here. Got my little cookies so I can sleep, although I'm like really tired. Yeah, I don't know what's new. I just was oh my gosh, yeah, 4th of July. Oh, that happened. Um, yeah, I mean I was here for the actual 4th. Um, and then yeah, I mean I kind of had like between Thursday and Sunday was like that kind of long weekend, even though like I showed up here, but it felt like a long weekend, and it felt like I was in the same spot as everyone else who was like going to a job. And yeah, because Thursday, like I was out of the house and I wasn't at my laptop, I was not working, and I was like, it stressed me out that I wasn't being productive. And I also kind of challenged myself to just like not do that. Like there was one time when I for like an hour I was eating outside. I was like, I'm not going to look at my phone, or I'm not going to be productive, and I'm going to like it. It doesn't work that way, but like I just kind of force myself to be okay with not being productive. I think the guilt of not having a conventional job and not being paid for this unconventional job, I think the guilt is like really gnawing, and you end up working the whole day, like from morning when you wake up to night. You feel like if you're not being, not just productive, but if you're enjoying and not doing something every moment of that day, then you're not productive, and then it's a waste, and you're not good enough of a person. I don't know if that makes sense. And I mention that because a lot of people talk about that, or I've heard a lot of people talk about that when you're self-employed, which again, I'm not making money technically right now, but I am doing something. But yeah, it's like extra stressful. um but yeah, so that was Thursday, and then well, that wasn't the whole Thursday. And then yeah, the weekend, I don't even know what happened. But somehow we're here on Wednesday, and it feels like it should be a Monday, cuz I feel like I need to catch up with not just the Blake Lively stuff, but life. I'm like nonstop going and going and going, but like I don't even know where the time goes. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyways, so yeah, that's like a little update on me. Oh, this is what I wanted to talk about. So I started and I already finished the TV show Mo, I think on Netflix. And it is so good, and it gets weird and a little not so like up my alley, a little too weird at one point with some visions and things. And that was like, it's a little, I don't know, I don't tend to like those movies or shows or that kind of storytelling a lot of times. But besides that, um it is so good. It is funny. I i loved it, and it is also so moving, and by the end of it you're so kind of moved and get it more, like the realism of being Palestinian. um and yeah, because they go and visit, kind of a spoiler, like they go in the last few episodes, they go to visit Palestine, and they really do a good job helping us understand more. If you are so not aware, you don't live there, you're not from there, you don't really know anything besides like what history books tell you or what your friends tell you or whatever, like it does a good job to actually for you to see it and to see things that like we take for granted or we don't think about. It's not everything that they include, obviously, but I was really moved, and I was really, I think I cried towards the end. There was something. Oh no, the very very end. I'm not gonna spoil that, but the very end of that episode, I cried. It was really sad. It was like, and it was haunting. Like this is happening right now. This is like the reality for too many people. One is too many, but it's not even one or two or three or four or five. It's like hundreds of people, and um, yeah, Phew. Yeah, but it's also so funny, and it's also about relationships. And I mean, I don't know how this writer did it. He put in a lot into this show. It is a great show, Mo, on I believe Netflix. um so yeah, not good. She is getting her way so far. The judge is upsetting me. Did the judge did I miss something as far? I thought we were waiting on the judge on a lot. The I did see some things coming in though. Ugh, this judge. I was talking to someone today and yesterday, two different people, same sentiment, that with this big beautiful bill being passed, it kind of dawned on me, and this is relating to the judge, the Blake Lively kind of judge. It dawned on me that we are so small and insignificant. And, you know, um, not that this judge is corrupt by Reynolds or Lively per se, but just like the whole kind of way that things are viewed and voted on and processed and all that stuff is corrupt in a way. Like, I feel like corrupt means that it's like shady, someone is getting profiting off of it or whatever. I'm trying to say more that like people are not as moral or as, yeah, as moral as we would hope they would be, and they are not doing it necessarily out of bad. I mean, I don't know, maybe he is corrupt in the corrupt way, excuse me, way, but a lot of times people are not doing it because of bad intentions. Even with this bill situation, I saw two people come in and left, probably not into the politics talk. Um, but yeah, with the bill situation, I think of, I keep referencing I think Marco Rubio is his name. I don't know. And how he seemed very uncomfortable with what was being said and done. But when he spoke up, back with like Zelensky and stuff, when he spoke up, then um, he, sorry, when he spoke up, he was supporting, the things that he seemed visibly uncomfortable about. And so, yeah, it does make me feel like it's not even that people need to be blackmailed. It's just, it feels like the power on that side, on the like, stay the same, not change, not progress, not be better, not have a better life, not, be moral. That kind of power is so much bigger than not than the other side. I don't know. I don't know. Let me see if I can. How can I put this on? I need to put. I don't know if that's like maybe this way. No, I need to put my cookies before the milk goes cold. So after this, I can eat them. All right. Nope. There we go. And I'm kind of looking cute today. Let me put the Bleak Lively. There we go. The little topic. Let me move that. Something like that. All right. So, oh boy. I think I left off over here. All of this is new to me. July, yeah. Unavailable transcript. Maybe I saw this motion for discovery. I know there are things on Jen Abel's side of things. Sorry, that's so loud. Jed Wallace. I think I did read this on Independence Day. So I think I left off maybe around this stuff. I don't remember this. Did we see this? Hi, P. Yeah, same. I'm coming on today because I feel like a lot is kind of happening, and I won't be on Friday. I might make it on Monday. I should make it on Monday, but it's going to be a long day, so I'm like, let me do one. And I kind of felt okay, but same. It's also summer. Like, let's enjoy the summer is how I'm seeing things too. I feel July especially, it's hitting, like it's warm outside, sunny. It might be too hot sometimes, but it's at least like sun, and you can be out and just, I don't know, de-stress a little bit from everything else that's going on in the world. So this is Kristen Bender. Oh my gosh, this will overflow the milk. Almost. All right, barely. I'm an attorney admitted to practice before this court. I respectfully submit this declaration in support of the motion by Ms. Lively and Jones parties. To amend the court's case management plan and scheduling order. Blah, 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 blah. Oh boy. Yeah, so we are starting. I am starting. I know some of you already have started with other content creators. On June 5th, Miss Lively and the Wayfarer parties agreed that the Lively and Wayfarer parties would each take 20 depositions. Okay, I don't know why that's like weird to me. The agreement included that additional depositions in connection with the related case would further need to be coordinated. On June 25, I emailed the council for all parties proposing that the parties agree and jointly request that this court extend the close of fact discovery by a month to September 18th. Oh, I think Lauren was reading this. This case is more overwhelming than Depp was. Yeah, it is. It is. Which is interesting. Was the Depp one also kind of like this for content creators that were covering it? Did it come out before the trial, or did it start on social media, on YouTube? Did it start with the trial, the coverage of it? Because that might also have a lot to do with it. So they request to extend it to run concurrently with expert discovery, complete party document production by July 15th, and enter into a shared briefing schedule in connection with discovery. On June 27, counsel for the Jones parties agreed to the initial proposal. On the same date, counsel for Mr. Jed Wallace and Street Relations also agreed to the initial proposal. Counsel for the Wayfarer parties responded on July 1st and did not consent to the proposal, but noted that they wished to take Ms. Lively's deposition on July 17, 2025. On June 26th, which I don't understand why you need to. Okay, so I kind of understand why you would want to have more discovery before doing depositions. I kind of get that. In terms of, and I commented this on Lauren's live earlier, like in terms of, the 15, I just saw the 50,000 hours. In terms of the general aspect of it, I agree. In terms of specifically her to be prepared, like because we don't trust her, like, yeah, it's really hard to see why wait and extend things for them to, like with the hours of the video, like why do you need the hours in order to have the deposition? You don't need to see the video to have the deposition. You don't. I don't know, at least in my no one perspective. On June 26th, counsel, and then you said that Amber never filed so many documents. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's like you're like, what's the point of this? Oh, hi. Maria Tani. Did I pronounce that right? You're not surprised that she wants to delay, that Blake Lively wants to delay, or that Amber never filed the documents? On June 26, counsel for the Wayfarer parties confirmed that the production of the film footage would involve approximately 100 terabytes of data and sought to coordinate production for those materials. I understand from public sources that 100 terabytes of data is a significant volume, that if HD video could amount to roughly 50,000 hours of video. No. Would it? I don't think so. I have 8, well, maybe, yeah. I have, but I don't. When you film in 4K, if they filmed in 4K, or sometimes people film in 8K as well, that increases the size by a lot. So I don't know who calculated that. Also, I would question that. Like, I mean, just rationally, you think like 50,000 hours of videos. Like, how many cameras did you have running? How much? Like, I know people did calculations since, like that's like however many years, but like seriously, like the other part too. And this is, I'm jumping ahead already, but my question is like, she's supposed to be this expert. She's all about like how has all this experience, Blake, and wants to have authorship, wants to direct, wants to edit, wants to do this and wants to do that. How are you going to ask to edit when you don't even know that, how much files have? I don't know, maybe I'm speaking this as an independent filmmaker who you kind of touch upon everything. So maybe, not, but like, you don't know how many hours, just logically, roughly on average, a production has, how many bytes of data that it is equivalent to. Also, you don't know that no one freaking films in HD. They film in 4K at least. What? Because like that's kind of stupid. And then this is so stupid. And then the other thing that was mentioned later, um, that the sound wasn't embedded in the video files. I don't know that much, but I would not be surprised by that. I feel like that's a professional way of doing video and sound, because sound is recorded like this. It's with something like this. And so when you're recording, and that's maybe why it's so funny, because she first said that there's no sound recorded on the camera, on the video. What they did when they showed us that video was that they put the sound from the microphones with, they had it matched already, or they matched it then with the video. Just because the camera didn't pick up sound does not mean that there's sound not recorded, but it's not put together. Like, I can think of some professional cameras, I don't know that they have like a microphone. Like, I think of like the Red by Black Magic, I think, and it doesn't, I don't know that it has a microphone. Maybe it does, I don't know. But yeah, so again, to someone that has done, you know 15, let's say 15 years of being in this industry, has a husband that has directed, has been involved hands on his projects, has wanted to do that, has done it, tried to do it before herself. How in the world are you not going to, like, I know this stuff. And like I said, maybe I don't know that it's like that every time, but like, you also easily anticipate it. Like, I know that. And she doesn't. And she's in Hollywood. And she was, not only that she had the 15 years experience herself, but she had her family in this industry. Who are they trying to fool? With like, oh, that's, someone told us that that's roughly 50,000 hours, in HD video quality, blah, 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 blah. And oh, the sound, oh, look at that. The sound is not matched to the video, or like it's not embedded in the video. There's no sound to these videos that we received. What? Oh gosh. Yep. Gosh, the thing. She wants to see if there's anything she can use because she doesn't have proof. Yeah. Which that is, so did the judge vote on that? Decide on that? Because that's what I'm slowly getting to. And I'm curious, because if I was the judge, maybe I would be too petty. But I'd be like, no, no, you're going to have the deposition before, we don't want evidence tampering or whatever, deposition tampering. Yeah. I question her lawyer's intelligence. Yeah, I always think, or I've always said so far, that I don't know if they're not intelligent or they're just not doing their job. And their job is to represent their client. And either they're not being told everything, or they're being told selective stuff, or they're being told everything, but they're not going to go against their client. They're not going to, like, um, make their client look bad. I say that, funny enough, it ends up making her look bad, but in their mind, they think like, oh, we're just going to play dumb. So yeah, um, she doesn't want to get caught lying. Yeah, um, he did. You're not going to be happy. Okay. Thanks for the warning, Maria. All right, I'm gonna speed through this then. Was that one of today's? Um, okay. So they understand that it's 50,000 hours. Okay. I'm informed by my technology team that um, this is anticipated to take a substantial amount of time in days to process, and we have been unable to ascertain basic information as to sorting of or what content is providing on a per drive basis that would streamline the process. Okay, that's fair. Although I would imagine it's pretty like organized, if nothing but by, timeline. Anyways, Miss Lively first requested production of the footage. I also like, yeah, if I'm Wayfair, I'm not going to make their job easier if I can. I'm just going to, you want the footage? Here's the footage. You didn't ask for it to be organized a specific way or for the audio or whatever. So you wanted the videos. Miss Lively first requested production in an RFP to Baldoni, served on February 20th, 2025, and in subsequent requests, slip sheets for the footage were produced on June 30th, long after Ms. Lively made clear that the production of such footage was necessary for her preparation and her deposition, which is, I would want to say it makes her look bad and it's terrible. I don't know how people will spin this, but people will spin this that want to be like, no, Blake Lively, we're for her, we support her. Somehow they'll spin that. I can't even imagine how you can spin, hey, I want to see the footage of me being SH'd or, other people potentially being SH'd so I can ascertain the situation or whatever. I talked about it on the live too. Like, I remember the time I was SH'd, and I remember it extremely vividly 20 years later. And it wasn't, I didn't know at that time that it was SH. I was like, this doesn't feel quite right. And, but I felt really uncomfortable and in a way violated, you would say. But like, you're just kind of like, oh, I don't know. Like, I'll just go along with it, whatever. I was like really young and it's not SH, that I experienced. And yet, I still very much remember it. I don't need any footage for me to like say anything. And also, it doesn't really even matter. Like, oh, well, it happened, in this minor way, and I didn't even see it to this other person or to me earlier on. They said this, they made this specific comment or whatever. No, like the point of it is like that happened to you in that moment, and you know it and you remember it. You don't need anything else. You need to prove it. Sure, I understand from that point, but to make a deposition, you don't need it. So I know that I'm sensing that the judge is like, yeah, you have to give her this, but like I'm just reacting in the moment as I'm reading this. Yesterday, okay. Preparation to lie. Yeah, I imagine Friedman went through them all and saw no SH. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't mean that she can't spin it and stuff, but it just makes her look so guilty of lying. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to think that hard anymore to understand how someone could see it differently. I don't know. Slip sheets for the footage were produced then. Okay, through council. Miss Lively has received 2 packages containing 11 hard drives of film footage and has been provided the tracking numbers in connection thereto. However, as the date of this filing, counsel for Wayfair have failed to provide any additional tracking number for the anticipated final package with the remaining 3 hard drives. Dude, you have 11 out of 3. Like, you have 11 out of 14. Shush. You just said that it'll take you a considerable amount of time, a substantial amount of time to review them. So just just take care of your 11 and then get to the third, the last 3. and Miss Lively has yet to receive the additional package containing these. This is kind of like, it's just like blah 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 blah. That's all I'm hearing with this is I'm just going to make it I'm just going to make as much noise as possible. Doesn't make sense, but I'm just going to make it. I know that I can wait for it. I know there's no rush. I know I have already literally most of the stuff that I requested for, and that the other stuff is coming. I know this because they mentioned, I guess, earlier that they'll provide it. And even if I'm not sure, like it's just like just blah 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 to me. Just I don't even know. I do want her to just go away. Just go away. So tired of this. So tired of this. And I have not even, this is like the first document that I've read. I'm so tired of it. Okay. Further, due to an error in the passcode provided to Miss Lively, access as to the earlier received hard drives only became possible as of late evening on July 2, when the correct passcode was conveyed. Okay, whatever. On June 27th, counsel for Miss Lively and Wayfair met and conferred telephonically regarding the upcoming calendar for deposition. Prior to the call on June 24, counsel for Wayfair shared availability for Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni. On the call, counsel for the Wayfair parties did not provide sufficient or detailed information regarding why their clients would be unavailable for broad swaths of time, such as Miss Nathan and Miss Abel for all of July. After the call on, what does it matter if they're not available for like the whole month of July? She doesn't even want to be deposed until September. Why does it matter? Like, they asked for their availability, they gave them availability. Able for all. Oh, so sorry. That Miss Nathan and Miss Abel would not be available for all of July. I misread that. My fault. Same thing though. Do people not have lives? And pot calling kettle over here. June 30th. After the call on June 30th, Counsel for Wayfair parties shared availability for their individual clients as follows. On the evening of July 1st, the Lively, Jones, and Wayfair parties made productions in connection with the case plan's deadline for substantial completion, made document productions. Okay, whatever. On July 2nd, the parties convened to meet and confer on discovery matters. During that meet and confer, counsel for the Wayfair parties represented that substantial completion had been completed as to their clients and acknowledged that the film footage had not been produced to the Jones parties and committed to work on the same, which I'm with all the other content creators. Why does Jones need to, like, literally, I can even understand whatever her name is, uh, Lively's person, lady, I don't know. I can understand even her having access to it, but why does Jones need it? As to the initial proposal to extend the close of document discovery, I'm not saying that, it makes complete sense, but it makes more sense, whatever her name is, to have, the film footage rather than the owner of the, um, whatever, public relations firm that Justin was with at that time. Oh, that came out of nowhere. Leslie, yes. Leslie Jones, right? No. Yes, Stephanie Jones, Leslie, whatever, Leslie, yeah. Yeah, like I can understand her having it. I like, well, more. Anyways, I'm just going in circles. So on July 2nd, they didn't receive this. As to the initial proposal to extend the close of document discovery on September 18th, counsel for the Wayfair parties indicated that the parties should be able to take all depositions, including 2 per day, to finish by August 14th in the multiple locations, but did not address the other proposed interim dates. On July 2nd, counsel for the Wayfair parties stated they would provide additional dates of availability. Those dates remain outstanding as of the time of this filing. Okay. On July 3rd, I emailed counsel to propose the schedule that is the subject of the instant motion. As of the time of filing, I did not hear back from Wallace, but the parties agreed. I also submit the declaration to place before the court true and correct copies of the following documents. Email chain ending on June 5th, starting on May 23rd between counsel for Miss Lively, Wayfair, Wallace parties regarding the total number of depositions. That's Exhibit A. Exhibit B is a true copy of the email chain ending July 3rd between counsel for Miss Lively and all these other people regarding the discovery schedule proposal. Exhibit C is correspondence. And D is regarding more deposition scheduling, and then a proposed amended case management plan reflecting adjustment in pink font is attached here too in Exhibit E. Okay, cool. All right. I kind of now stop. I kind of just want to go straight to the decision now. And I want to skim quickly through this. This was what Lauren was going through, so I'm not the only one that's behind. It's been tough. She seems like she's been having a much better time though, traveling and stuff than me, but still, it is. Okay, so I hold on, sorry, I need to stop this being like a freezer here. I really want to just skip through this. Yeah, I don't know. Let's get to the decision and then come back. Okay, there's a bunch of today. All right. This is in support. So, is this the judge's thing? Okay. That's always so confusing because it starts Louis Lyman and then 2 dots. To me, that's like to him, but I guess it's like by him. Okay. So they moved to amend the case management plan and scheduling order. The Wayfair parties opposed the motion in part. The parties agreed on an extension for depositions. The principal difference between the parties appears to relate to the timing of document production. The Wayfair parties object to what they characterize as an extension of document production. The request of Lively Jones and Jones Works could be read to extend document production, including the service of new document requests, into August 2025. However, a letter filed by Lively on July 9th states that Ms. Lively seeks to require all parties to complete document productions by July 25. This accords with the apparent goal of the parties that all deficiencies with respect to document production be identified by August 1st and be resolved shortly thereafter, so that depositions can be completed on time by September 30th. The parties shall show cause by 5 p.m. on July 11, why the court should not issue an order as follows. So he hasn't decided yet. Sloan, yes, thank you. Leslie Sloan. Okay, I imagine, yeah, didn't the judge say she can't subpoena other people? True, yes, it does. I don't remember. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so the court wants to issue this order, so people should say by 5 p.m. Friday. Why he shouldn't? Why it shouldn't? All document productions by parties and non-parties shall be completed by July 25. Third-party subpoenas shall require production no later than July 25. Motions to compel regarding document production shall be filed by no later than August 1. Yeah. Depositions shall be completed by September 30th. All fact discovery shall be completed by September 30th. So I'm like, to me, is that he said, okay, so tell me why I shouldn't order it this way. So he didn't really say this is how it shall be. He is kind of going with um like, the only thing that he went with, like, lively party. But yeah, I guess, like, it is kind of like, didn't Wayfair explain why, they shouldn't, why, like, the whole, like, document production or whatever, the things being produced could, like, be produced so she can kind of not have the most honest deposition. So I thought that someone was reading that, and they did explain why not. I don't know. We'll see what they answer. Um, but my understanding is that nothing has been set yet, ordered yet. Besides him saying, "Tell me why I shouldn't by Friday." Plaintiff Blake Lively respectfully submits this reply in further support of the joint motion to amend the case management plan and scheduling order. As an initial matter, the Wayfair parties have agreed to extend the deadline for the completion of depositions from August 14th to September 30th, which would have obviated the need for the bulk of the motion in opposition, had the Wayfair parties simply conferred in good faith on the matter. Uh, so they're saying that basically it's like, yeah, we got what we wanted, but all of that, all of those filings that we filed would have been not filed, unnecessary, if they would have just agreed to it in the first place. So what's the purpose of this letter? Just seriously, they're like little kids. Notwithstanding this agreement, the Wayfair parties have filed an opposition in order to assert baseless, false, and irrelevant accusations about Miss Lively, such as that Miss Lively has failed to diligently engage in discovery and seeks to unnecessarily delay her July 17 deposition. But isn't she? This falls literally just asked to extend depositions to September 30th. This false claim just so happens to parrot the sanctionable narrative spun by Wayfair's lead counsel, Ryan Friedman, for months, namely that Miss Lively is hiding the truth and afraid of being deposed. But show us differently. I know, I feel like, I'm just saying the same thing that other content creators have said, but, like, show us differently. Don't just say, "Oh, they're just, like, saying that we're like this and we don't like that." Well, show that it's not like that. What the heck? Why is this even a letter? Why is this even happening right now? This is so pointless. To be clear, all of this is categorically false. Not only has Miss Lively repeatedly stated that she intends to move forward with her deposition on July 17th, where it is actually the Wayfair parties who, just hours after submitting their opposition yesterday, sought to take the deposition off the calendar, relying upon a brazen misrepresentation that they were responding to a request that Miss Lively never made. Before I move on, I want to see this Exhibit A. So July 7th, right? It starts at the end, yeah. We write regarding we write regarding Miss Lively's upcoming July 17th deposition, as we have emphasized in letter and email on June 11th and 17. And during the parties, meet and confer on June 13th. Miss Lively's receipt and review of the film footage on which you may rely for her deposition is a necessary precondition to her sitting for a deposition in this matter. I am. In fact, we agreed to a continuance of Miss Lively's deposition from the originally noticed date of June 23rd to July 17th on the understanding that all footage to be produced in this case, including the footage that may be used or relied on in Miss Lively's deposition, will be produced by July 1st. On June 26th, you estimated that you would substantially complete a production of 100 terabytes of film footage data by July 1st, with the few remaining hard drives to arrive shortly thereafter next week. In response to our request for tracking numbers for the drives on July 1st, none of which we had received at the time of our email, you indicated that the majority of the drives should have arrived. Blah, 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 whatever. We agree to your request to postpone Miss Lively's deposition, currently scheduled for July 17th. As the film footage will be produced by July 11th, please provide us with several available dates in late July for Miss Lively's deposition. The deposition will be taking place or whatever at the offices which has security as set forth in the original deposition notice. Let us know by noon Pacific time tomorrow. I mean, they said, I guess, like, yeah, they said, maybe like she misunderstood. Did I miss something? Because I guess it's a she who responded. Yeah, Kim Zeldin. She might have like misunderstood this whole stuff as like, so you want to delay because if you wish to proceed with Miss Lively's deposition on July 17th, please confirm when we can expect the remaining hard drives no later than 12 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. Ms. Lively's deposition is scheduled to take place in 10 days, and as of this writing, you have refused to provide even a tracking number for the final set of hard drives that were purportedly due to arrive before July 4th. But I also, my understanding is that they weren't mandated by the judge or anything. So, like, technically, just because she wants it doesn't mean that she'll get it. That's my understanding. Although they say like you agreed that you will give it to us, blah 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 blah. I don't know. Um, I did think it was Friedman, not Freeman. Okay. Um, but yeah, I can see how it was a misunderstanding. I don't think they did it on purpose, but whatever. That's why this feels all so like childish, like little children. I don't want to. What's Vin Diesel? Where? Why is he in here? What the heck? Wait, why? Why is Vin Diesel in? Is this another Vin Diesel? What is happening? Um, a true and correct of the application to compel the deposition of defendant Vin Diesel and sanctions, or alternatively, shortened time regarding a noticed motion for the same relief publicly filed in Jonathan versus Diesel in the Superior Court. I must be missing something. I was reading this. I don't feel like reading this, guys. Why? Why? She's doing the same thing like the movie, taking over this case. She wants everything. That is so true. Everything before being deposed. Yeah, that is so on the nose, Maria. Absolutely what it looks like, allegedly. That's what it looks like. It looks like she's trying to dictate when things should happen by what she feels comfortable. Although, like, Obviously, like, I feel like everyone will do the same. Everyone wants to have things in their most comfortable way, but she doesn't have quite the best track record with that. That is what I wanted to say to Blake fans. All I see is lies, and I want to show be shown proof that it all happened. And I wanted to say it not something she say over and over again in her actions. Yeah, is different than her words. Yeah, her actions are different than her words. Friedman got into an argument with another lawyer. Um, uh, has the date for this case. What does that mean? What did I miss with this Vin Diesel thing? I don't understand. But Friedman got into an argument with another lawyer. And that's what the news is saying. Man, I'm so like out of it. I'm like so behind. Let me see. I feel very I feel very self conscious when I Google search things. So um see that. On a case where Vin Diesel and Freeman got into an argument with another lawyer. What is Vin Diesel like? This is the same Vin Diesel, right? Hi, Rosewild. Thank you, thank you. This is the same Vin Diesel, actor. Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting. The only two things that I saw are like there are only two pieces of news. Sorry. Vin Diesel ordered to sit for SA case deposition as dueling lawyers nearly come to blows. All right, let's see what that's about. Fast and so they're trying to get Friedman off the Blake Lively case or off deposing Blake Lively because supposedly an incident happened. Fast and Furious star Vin Diesel, who I heard is a really kind of crappy producer, by the way. That's what I heard. I remember working on Fast and the Furious, and there were sayings that like he, like everything had to go through him and be approved by him, and it just didn't sound like the best thing. I don't know. It's set to appear for a deposition in a scandalous SAS case. Oh, sorry. That has his hard charging lawyer calling the alleged victim's attorney pie. What is that? And a piece of poop. According to court documents exclusively obtained by the National Enquirer, Diesel 57 will sit down on September 3rd for questioning from Matthew Hale, the lawyer representing his former assistant Asta Jonasson. I really like that name, Asta. I don't know that I'm pronouncing it right. In a lawsuit accusing the Triple X star of that. Okay. This comes after the legal battle took a nasty turn on June 23rd. Per the documents, an out of court fist fight nearly broke out between Hale and Diesel's attorney, Brian Friedman, after it was revealed that the actor would be unable to attend his scheduled deposition. I have a hard time imagining Brian Friedman fist fighting. Friedman allegedly refusing to explain to Hale why his client was AWOL. I don't even know, like, do they owe anyone why someone's like not available? I guess, yeah. I don't know. Documents go on to explain that tempers flared when Hale threatened to file a motion to compel um, Diesel, and Friedman responded by calling Hale a moron. Mr. Friedman then threatened Mr. Hale with malicious prosecution and called him a piece of poop. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Friedman got up from his chair, rushed to stand directly in front of Mr. Hale, mere inches away from him. Mr. Friedman then called Mr. Hale, what's PY? What's a pie? And swung his fist at Mr. Are we. If this is true, then I'm a terrible judge of character. Maybe not to that extreme, but like, this sounds like a movie. This does not sound real life. I can even understand like moron and stuff, but like, I can't imagine a world where a lawyer, to this degree especially, just swings at another lawyer. I can't imagine that, but I might be proven wrong. Um yeah. Um Sorry, yeah. In short, Blake is claiming that Friedman is violent and she's afraid, so she needs to be deposed at her lawyer's office instead of where Friedman wants. She is using a rumor of Friedman almost fighting another attorney. Yeah. I what comes to mind is like, how convenient. Isn't this a little too convenient? What are the chances this rumor, this situation, any of it happened right before she gets deposed? What are the statistical chances? Statistically, it is not high. It is quite low. Even if, let's say, Friedman did do this, and let's say Friedman has a pattern of this, even if that's true, chances go up a lot more. I just don't think that he does this. I don't know. So the chances, statistics are just really low to me, and it sounds really ridiculous. I still don't even know what PY means. Anyone, please tell me what's PY? Pie. He's a pie. Darn it. Okay. She mentioned that she is scared and she wants the deposition at her office. Um, Wayfarer says it was the other lawyer that was yelling and wanting to fight, not Friedman. Um, she's trying hard. Yeah, she is. I feel she will not make it to her next one, and she rescheduled. Yeah, she can't. She can try. It's not going to work. Yeah, it might work. I don't know, but like, I feel like there should be footage of this, right? Because depositions are often recorded. Hale now wants Friedman sanctioned for $5,330.07. I don't know why. In attorney fees and his obstructionist tactics and unprofessional conduct, state the court documents. The documents go on to reveal that Diesel is now asking for permission to bolt from his upcoming September 3rd deposition for his security because of death threats and an undisclosed medical condition he is battling, the court documents reveal. Paloma Jimenez will also sit for around 3 hours of questioning on September 12th. As the Inquirer previously reported, Diesel's former assistant, Jonathan, claimed in her 2023 lawsuit that her ex-boss groped her, pinned her against the wall, and did that at a Georgia hotel during production for Fast Five, and ignored her clear statements of non-consent. Let me be very clear, Vin Diesel categorically denies this claim in its entirety, Friedman said. Right. I was watching Ashley. Oh gosh, I'm like blanking. Brianna. And I was watching her talk about how the media is like, oh, misogyny slop, blah blah blah, like, and where are all the articles against Kevin Costner and for whatever his accuser is, Devin, I think. Um, Same thing with this. Where are all the articles, pro Asta or Astra or whatever, and against Vin Diesel? Where all of these are? Where is all of that news and fighting for women and stuff? Um, yeah, I'm curious. This is the thing. I'm curious, genuinely, openly curious of how this will go. I don't believe him. I don't believe her. I don't have any clue besides this article that this was even happening. I didn't know. So I have literally no way of knowing what is happening. Um, and honestly, like, you do kind of tend to be like, ooh, like, that probably happened a little bit inside, but I really, I'm not invested in either of them. I have no idea. I don't know them as people. I don't know them not as people. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Maria. Um, yeah. So I'm curious, um, how this will, go down. But this, it just, I don't know. Something doesn't feel right. Oh, sorry. I wasn't even sharing this. So sorry. Oh, my little doggy is sleeping. I wasn't sharing. I thought I was sharing it while I was reading it. Um. So yeah, I'm still curious what this PY thing is. Still, I don't know. Look at that. I didn't even see this. What is this? What the heck is this fashion? What is going on here? It looks like it just like has like oh, like, when you get a package or something, and then like just you get pieces of cardboard and they're just sticking up. What is this? Oh my gosh. All right. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know. You're going to have to show me pretty strong proof that Brian Friedman just attacked the guy. Like, I just I've seen more hours of Brian Friedman talking to the press or on whatever than that. But hey, maybe it happened. I don't know. We don't know these people. I don't know that. I don't know Brian Friedman personally, so maybe it happened. I also just feel like I don't really like the coincidence. It's too coincidental. It smells too fishy that this is coming up. And yeah, because like, ultimately, I also think, like, what was that lawyer doing? Was there provocation? It's never okay to lead to, like, get to the point where even if you're provoked, you get to that point. Obviously, um, I just I don't know. I used to, like, have a lot more trust in the world and in people and everything, and now I'm like, I don't know. The more I've read about what Blake Lively has said, and you see it side by side with what happened or whatever, and it's like really hard to believe anything from her side, and that there's not some sort of, like, puppeteering behind the scenes. I don't know. So curious, though. I'm very curious what will happen next to that. I want to see the receipts for whoever threw punches, or if punches were even thrown. Even though they say that's, like, what court documents said. Um, so yeah. To me, she seems a little fleeky. Yeah, no, she's absolutely fleeky. She's, like, all about her. Anyways, so back to these court documents that I don't really want to read, and I just, yeah. I don't. How long is this? Okay, this is not too long. Okay. So, picking back up with this one. This false claim just so happens to parrot the sanctionable narrative spun by Brian Friedman, forgot the D, for months that she wants to run away. Okay, cool, 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 whatever. The same cannot be said for the Wayfarer parties. Excuse me. Miss Lively has made painstaking efforts to diligently engage in discovery in this case, as evidenced by her fulsome productions to date and her multiple motions to compel. The motions to compel is showing, like, look how diligent I am about this discovery phase. Um, blah, 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 blah. At each turn, the Wayfarer parties have refused to produce key documents and have taken obstructive and unreasonable positions. I don't know that I've read anything unreasonable that Wayfarer has produced. Obstructive, sure. Unreasonable, no. And even in the face of a court ordered deadline to complete substantial document productions by July 1st, the Wayfarer party's productions remain materially incomplete. Is it just the hard drives? To date, the Wayfarer parties have failed to even produce all communications contained within the First Amended Complaint and Exhibit A. For this part, Mr. Sarowitz has produced only two documents, a production that is indisputably deficient. Sorry, I also can, like, blow this up. It's been a while. I'm really rusty already. It's been like a week. Um, yeah, a production that is indisputably deficient given that he is Wayfair's co-founder, co-chairman, and leading financier, not just of the studio and film, but of this litigation as well. The productions by Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni, Abel, Nathan Tag are similarly deficient. Produced only limited text messages, failed to produce texts that Miss Lively knows to be in their possession and which are directly responsive for pending requests. But if it's in Lively's freaking possession, I'm sorry to yell. If it's in her freaking possession already, or if she knows that they're in Abel's possession, it means that she has the text. So why does she need it from Abel herself? Um, Oh, the bury everyone thing, including, for example, communications about Mr. Wallace and being able to bury anyone. Further, while Miss Lively intends to meet and confer with the Wayfarer parties about these deficiencies before seeking formal judicial intervention, Miss Lively has recently learned that the 150 hours of film footage produced by the Wayfarer parties is materially defective. No, it's freaking not, stupid person that is supposed to know of this because you're on sets all the time. The video files were produced without embedded audio, meaning that while film footage can be reviewed, it can only be reviewed without audio, thereby rendering the production of that footage incomplete and unusable for any for any substantive purposes or whatever substantive. Notwithstanding these clear deficiencies, Miss Lively has arranged her calendar as well as the calendars of her counsel in order to sit for her deposition on July 17. Yes, my queen. Oh my gosh, this whole thing, it is not incomplete. You asked for the freaking video footage, they gave you the freaking video footage. Did you ask for the audio? This is a lawyer's situation. Are they going to go above and beyond for you when you trash them and you ruin their lives and want to ruin their lives? No, they freaking will not go above and beyond for you and, like, play nice. They're going to, like, stand their ground. You're going to ask for it, they're going to deliver. They didn't even fight her on this. Like, many people have said that they would fight for her fight her on this and all this stuff. So they didn't even do that. They gave her the video. It is not incomplete and it's not defective. They gave her the footage, the video. She didn't say, I want to hear the sound. Also because, like, isn't it more like physical? I don't know. Whatever. Rather than address these glaring discovery shortcomings, Wayfarer parties instead try to pass blame to Miss Lively for somehow failing to exercise diligence in conducting discovery. Oh my gosh. Sorry. And scheduling depositions. But this argument is bellied by the factual record, including the many motions to compel filed by Miss Lively, which have been prerequisites for Miss Lively to be able to determine which of the voluminous third parties in this case should sit for depositions. In any event, Um, fact discovery remains open, and Miss Lively has actively worked to obtain key discovery and coordinate depositions. Efforts which have been largely impeded by the Wayfair parties. Indeed, the only reason formal notices have not been served is because the Wayfair parties have failed to produce key documents and offered only minimal availability while mandating a particular sequencing of witnesses. That is not a failure of diligence. It is a measured, appropriate effort to coordinate the positions fairly and efficiently. I don't even understand. Why are we talking about this? However, given the Wayfarer party's continued discovery woes, the case plan must be amended to extend the time for depositions and to order the completion of party documents productions by July 25. The Wayfarer party's attempt to cast this request as delay mischaracterizes the request. Ms. Lively seeks to require all parties to complete document productions by July 25 to ensure that all parties can appropriately prepare for and timely complete depositions. Not to. This is something that lawyers will have to chime in if they probably have already chimed in, but does deposition require to be done after discovery is done? I can see that. I do. I like objectively from this. I can see you want as much of things that you're curious about to have that in order to ask questions about it. But then I also think, what is the trial there for? For, isn't that more for the trial? The discovery isn't that for the trial part? Um, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. So I'm not a lawyer, so I can see it both ways as far as like logically. I don't know. I'm not going to look at the other stuff. Um, as I click on something else. Um, I think we get the gist of it. We get the point, and it's so freaking cold. Let me put this heater on. Oh my gosh, I'm freezing. My dog is like the cutest thing right now. I mean, they need to do something about the camera lenses always like getting the fingerprints. Maybe some have done. She's looking at me. Don't want go back to sleep. You're so cute. Anyways, she's still cute. I don't know. Phil, zoom in. Maybe thinking about it. No. Okay. Anyways, I think she wants to see if she doesn't find anything, the jury will see it too. Yeah, you know what popped into my head is that it seems like she doesn't want to get to the trial, right? Like she wants all the discovery to come before the depositions, so the depositions will be moot and or will be done in such a way that's like, see, we might as well settle because you don't have a case against me, or like I have a case against you and you're going to lose or something like that. I don't know. It made sense when I was reading that last thing. Um, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So doesn't mean that it works that way. Doesn't mean that she will find anything in any of the discovery that will, end up being that way. But that's what it came to mind that she wants. So, anyways, as far as the 90-day fiance stuff, I today did not go as planned. I had pulled up my workflowy and I was ready to make bullet points and talk about and just like organize my stuff. And then um, I met up with a classmate last minute. And then on the phone after that for like 3 hours, because yeah, we always do that. And then, yeah, here we are. So, um, let me put off topic over here. I know no one knows. None of you guys know about 90 days, and I'm sorry. It's a passion project of mine. This is my little passion topic, I guess. Um, and like I said, I feel like why I want to talk about it is more generalized or more general than like if you see it or whatever. And it is drama. It's a different type of drama. I feel like it's a better drama than this. This whole Blake Lively thing. It's just like it's although like relationship drama, relationship reality TV relationships can be just as like wanting to pull your hair out. But I think generally it's like at the end of the day, it kind of is like, well, that's their life and it's not really going anywhere. Like this with this case, it sometimes just feels so big because it's affecting someone's livelihood and passion, their dream to make a difference in the world, positive difference in the world, as far as like Justin Baldoni with Wayfair and making movies. And also, falsely so. Whereas, like, when you get reality TV stars saying, oh, they did this and they did this, and kind of like all Jerry Springer, Maury type of stuff, then it's like you kind of take it with a grain of salt and whatever. There are some cases where you do feel like, I don't think that this person is a good person, and I don't think anything can change my mind. But that's the other thing too, is that you kind of see them for yourself, and you see them more than they see themselves unless they watch the show. Um, so when it comes with this Gino guy, so I think I've spoken about Gino and Jasmine before, and they're a couple. I guess, I don't even remember the beginnings of them, and I don't know that much, but basically they met on a sugar daddy, sugar baby, sugar whatever site. And that's how he found his first ex wife, I think, and her. So there's like strike number one of you aren't really searching for an equal relation, a true relationship, a good, healthy relationship. Anyways, so found Jasmine, and then she was from Panama City in Panama, and then brought her here. Long story short, very long story, very short, and they got married, and then he didn't want to be intimate with her. And of course, we don't know that much behind the scenes. It seemed because they did all of these different 90 Day Fiance World shows, they ended up also on this show called, oh, something about group therapy, or couples therapy, couples retreat, or something like that. And they had couples therapy, which I love. It kind of pains me when these stars talk about, oh yeah, we went to couples therapy. No, you didn't. You went to film a show that's kind of similar to couple therapy in some sort of very distant way. And they went for a week too, or something like that. So it's like you didn't really get couples therapy, but okay. And yeah, so they ended that whole thing with they'll have an open relationship because she needs to have affection and get her basic physical needs, and he's not willing to do that for her because they fight all the time, and she puts him down and all this stuff. The thing though that like started we started seeing more, and in one scene we literally saw the like camera, hidden camera more or less footage of a fight that they had. And that's when everyone was like, you know what? I don't think it's Jasmine's fault. I think that he is pushing her. Like there's ways to sort of like mentally exhaust someone to the point where they break down and they look like the guilty one, right? And it seemed like that's what was happening. Anyways, I think I spoke about that. Fast forward, they went to the tell all. I didn't even finish the tell all. It was too much like trashy and stuff. It was like a little too much. And but she was pregnant with this other guy's baby. And this other guy, I don't know, but everything that we've heard from him was like rational, was just like a normal dude. Had really good points, admitted that she is a lot, that she is crazy, all that stuff, but also that she, at the end of the day, is just a human being that also deserves to be loved and be treated right. Just because she's crazy doesn't mean to mistreat her. And, sometimes it's because she got mistreated that she's crazy. Anyways, so that was the tell all. And now this show goes back 7 months or so. Was it 7 months? Yeah, I guess so. Um, to when she got kicked out of her house with Gino, and Gino went to Las Vegas to find his third person or whatever. There is a huge difference. A, he did it without telling her. That is not an open relationship. I don't think that is in the rules that he would agree to, that he would like for her to just randomly find someone. Although I guess that he did say that he wouldn't want to know or meet the other person, but I think he thought about it in a different way. Anyways, so but he didn't tell that other person that this is what was happening. He told the other person that he kicked Jasmine out. My first issue was what Gino kept saying to this girl was, or woman, was that he was like super pushing and looking at the camera, saying things like, "Oh, that like you're going to turn me on," or "You're like that's turning me on," or stuff like that, or um, "Oh, like you're like." I don't even know how how he talks, but just like very um insinuating that, not just insinuating, just stating that like he hasn't done stuff in a very long time and he also has needs, and the only reason that he didn't do that with Jasmine was because of her, because she was like fighting all the time, putting him down, blah blah blah. It's like cry me a river, dude. That is, again, maybe just like with the Blake Lively thing, if someone just comes in not knowing, not seeing all the other seasons and having selective memory, then they might say, "Oh, poor Gino," and "Yeah, you go, Gino," and all that stuff. If you remember and you've seen all the other stuff, you're like, BS. You made your bed, you created the situation you're in, and then you are blaming this other person. And it was also all about control. This one therapist was talking about that, like, having found Jasmine on this sugar baby, sugar daddy site or whatever. Um, I or she and I echo what she was saying, that um it's about this, like him having control over her, and same thing, like she desperately wanted to be physical with him, Like even cuddling, she was begging to just cuddle, and he was just so like awful about that. Maybe awful is too much, but he was so mean about that and like shut down and whatever. And the thing also is like, if you are having a disagreement, disconnection, you are at odds with each other, you have resentment, all that stuff. I don't think cuddling is an issue, or like it shouldn't be an issue. It should be actually something that will get you back onto like, oh, hey, like, I remember who you are. I remember who you are. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. It's that repair that people now are starting to talk about more, because a lot of people are like all or nothing and don't care about repair, and they think that it should just be there from the beginning. But that repair is what builds trust, what builds connection, what solves issues and all that stuff. So, and I remember, I mean, on like I have like literal personal experiences when my ex and I were fighting the most, like when we were in Romania. I remember we both started like kind of, whether the next day or like afterwards or whatever, like walking by in the kitchen and just kind of like just touching the other person's shoulder or something. Not like sexual, not like anything crazy. It's just like I don't know, nice. And like I remember when I was doing it and when it was done to me, like just instantly is like, oh yeah, okay, this person's not my enemy. Like that's like the first kind of thing, because when you're fighting, you're like, I have to defend my point or whatever. And like, okay, like they care. Um, or yeah, things like that. Anyways, and also like other things too when we're like cuddle, at the end of the night or whatever after like fighting or had like a tough day or whatever, and we would like come together and it was like, oh yeah, I remember, like, cuz like when you're fighting, you're in this disconnection, and if you, I guess maybe with Gino and Jasmine, like if they didn't do this, like it will just end in that disconnection. But what this person was saying was that that was by design from Gino. Like he wanted control over Jasmine. That's how it started. He wanted to control, like to be the one supplying money, have that control over her. Then like having her being brought here. Like if you don't do what I say, if you are not how I want you to be, if you don't calm down, etc., I'm not going to bring you to America. Then he brought her here, then he couldn't hold that over her head, so he had to hold something else over her head, which was being physical, being intimate. And although like I do understand also the fighting affecting someone, but I think to the extent that it was with them, it it did look like something more. I don't know. But to the point now, like the way that he was with this, the things that, um I almost want to like pull it up because I want to be very specific with what he was saying, because it was just so uh, immature, um ignorant, and just something that like is so cliche, for many people. um but especially it makes me think of that red pill guy type of thing. So I mean, like, go here. I can't share it because it's on my iPad, and um, yeah, I need to be better at find a way to do that reaction videos to actual shows and things. Although it's getting harder and harder. Um, so he says that, um, and also I just feel bad for her, for this girl. Her name is Natalie. Which, fun fact, he was kind of seen as having this crush on this other Natalie at the couples retreat thing. And I'm like, is this a coincidence that this girl's named Natalie too? I don't know. So he connected to her, blah 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 blah. Um, she was very calm and cool, very friendly, I feel I could talk to her about anything. Basically, just this like idea that people miss sometimes. Like this new person, of course, it's going to be better. Of course, you're not going to fight the first day, or first date or whatever. Of course, she's going to be sweeter to you. You're going to be sweeter to her. Of course, that grass is greener, but the grass being greener is on the surface, and then you also see that grass is also has a ground to it, also has roots to it, and that person is not going to like magically um be this doll for you, because that's like kind of what people were saying the retreat thing about him too. Like he wants to just have this like object in his partner, that just kind of does what he wants to her to do, more or less, or whatever. um I think it's just like this ignorance, this lack of understanding himself, and not wanting to look at that. Because yeah, I don't know, I could go on forever. I still feel like this is best done with, you know actual videos and whatever. I just got excited and then I forgot about it. um yeah, he wants intimacy with a woman. He just can't do it with Jasmine. um Again, like, just zero responsibility, zero ownership. And I'm excited to see the rest of it, because apparently tables turn, and it's not like he thought, which is like this perfect, like, we don't fight. Because the other thing too was he wanted to for them to not fight for like 6 months or something like that, maybe 3 months, like, at all, like not one fight. And this other guy that he was telling this to was like, this is ridiculous. Like, what is this? This is unrealistic. Okay, so they go to this ice thing where they take shots from this ice sculpture's boob and stuff, and then um oh yeah, she's having a great time. She's not negative at all. I'm not arguing with her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy. Literally, he's like, I can't even remember the last time Jasmine had this much fun with me. And I'm like, I can't watch this guy. This is just stupid at this point. This is stupid. You're either playing for the camera or you are just plain stupid. Because he's like in his late 40s or 50s or something. This is not like a 20-year-old that just doesn't know better. Like, you're trying really hard to be that dumb at this point. Um, because, like, of course, again, this new person that you don't have any history with, that you haven't even seen that deeply into, and vice versa, they haven't seen deeply into you. You don't know their bad habits that will annoy you, that will hurt you. You don't know, they don't know yours. None of that. Of course it's going to be more fun. Of course it's, like, things add up. And again, if you don't diffuse them and if you don't, like, repair, they're going to add up, and it's going to feel like that. But it's your responsibility as an adult human being, Mr. Gino, I don't know his last name, to put in that your part in the effort that it takes to have fun with someone, to not fight. They have the responsibility. But she went to therapy. I remember, I think she wanted them to go to therapy, or I don't know, like, and I saw her, like, try to communicate and try to say, like, what do you need from me, etc., etc., let's do this, let's do that. Like, she wasn't that unreasonable. um but yeah, yeah, he just, I don't know. And if you don't like someone, just don't like them. Don't say that, oh, I'm having a much better time with this other person because I'm just having a much better time with this person. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, I feel like I'm just not prepared enough to have this conversation. I don't have my little notes. Um, yeah. Yeah. There was one other part too. Right. And then there's the Moldova thing, which, oh gosh, that really irritated me. Just the entitlement, the like American entitlement and ignorance, to be nice. Um, so they go and I think they dare each other to lick this ice sculpture of, I don't know, a bear or just like a random sculpture. And he says, "Oh my god, stop it. That's getting me excited." And then he goes into something. Jasmine hasn't made me happy in a really long time. That says a lot. Jasmine hasn't made me happy. I don't do anything. I don't contribute to that. I am not in charge of my happiness in any kind of way. But Natalie makes me laugh. She makes me smile. She makes me hot and sweaty inside. Ew. How would you even be sweaty inside? I believe that would be really dangerous for you to be sweaty inside. Anyways, so um oh yeah. He literally says, um I haven't felt this good in a long time. It feels like I'm always arguing and fighting every time I go out. And she's like, "Oh." And he says, "It feels so good just to like hold you." I can't believe I'm even looking at this. "You're not like bitching at me and telling me what a piece of crap I am." And she's like, "Oh my god." And that's where I was like, I can't watch this. This is not gaslighting because he's not saying this to like, Jasmine or whatever technically, but like trying to gaslight us, except that he looks at the camera every now and then, or like he's aware of it. So he's, like I said, even either putting on a show or just that dumb and that like unwilling to look at himself. And it takes a lot to not look at yourself that much, at this age. Again, teens, 20s, I get that. But like it takes a lot to not have any self awareness and any ownership that, hey, you contributed, you didn't want to hold Jasmine. It's not like she didn't want to be held. And, all the fighting and calling him all this stuff. Like, and to tell that on the first date, they talked, but this is the first time they met in person, him and Natalie. Um, to tell that, I remember this is like one of the hugest red flags with someone, that when you meet up and they tell you what it doesn't even have to be the first date, but they tell you about their past relationship and they basically just say how bad that other person was, is like, okay, red flag, because you're not taking care of your situation. You're not taking care of you and what you contributed and what you added to that fire and how it burned down. You are not, you're just, and you're going to do and see that same thing in me or whoever else, So that's what I wanted to say about this guy. Not very healthy relationship. Nope. Um, I don't say toxic very often, but this was on that level. A toxic relationship with him and Jasmine. And I hope it seemed like she's away, gone with him, but yeah. Now, I feel like this should be a poll, honestly. Um, if you're talking with your friends, girls to girls, guys to guys, or even like co-gender, but they're like your friends, and then you meet up with your significant others, and in that friend part, so this guy Andre, he's from Moldova. He really wants to take his family back to Moldova after he came here with the visa, got the visa, blah blah blah. He's been here for a few years, whatever. and they have two kids, I think. And he's selling these two other guys. I mean, they're not really exactly friends, but kind of. I don't know. They're from this universe, all of them, and they know each other. And he's telling them that he wants to do this, and that in a way, like, she doesn't have a choice. That he'll make her. He even says he'll like convince her. He'll like show her why it's better that way or whatever. He even says that, and I point that out because then he says that he'll give her an ultimatum because they're like, how are you going to make her? Blah blah blah. They don't focus on that. He said that he was going to try to like show her, why this was the better idea. And he's like, well, I'll just give her an ultimatum. And they're like, ultimatum? He's like, yeah, like either move with me or we go our separate ways. They have two kids. At first, you might say, that's messed up. I agree with some of the other cast members that were reacting to this that like with your friends or with people, you're probably going to boast a little bit more, but really you're never going to like talk that way or even think that way in your relationship because then you probably don't have that relationship. It's more of a discussion or whatever. But like in private, you're like, yeah, I'm going to like puff my chest and like it's my way or the highway or whatever. And actually, the cast outside of this was saying that the people that met them, they're like, it's opposite. You see him being the bully and the like, the one that makes the decisions, but it's really her. So never really like trust how things are edited or like shown to the outside. And but that's like one of those things. Anyways, so they get back together on the at the table with the women as well, their wives and stuff. And they start talking about this other person that doesn't even know anyone besides her friend or whatever chimes in, calls him something. He calls her a B word, and I feel like that was disrespectful. I don't think a man should call a woman that, especially they never met. They're just heated. Suddenly they're arguing, and she calls him something, and then in response he calls her that. Clearly, he is reactive. He's this is why like I don't take that much this ultimatum thing as seriously because clearly he's just like saying things and is triggered easily, reactive, and just says stuff. And then it's kind of one of those things like, okay, like he doesn't really mean it. Oh, he's just like snappy. He has to work on it ideally, but he's not really a bad person. I don't know. But yeah. So then they talk about this Moldova thing, and um and the guys out him saying that like you just told us just a while ago at the barbecue that you're going to give her an ultimatum. And if I was his wife, honestly, I would be like, okay. But she's like, what? um I feel like I would know that about my husband. Like, okay, yeah, all right. I'm not going to, especially in front of others. I feel like I would not, I would have my partner's back and not act surprised or, offended by that. Especially if they're like that, because they're really together. They're really like that generally. So it was kind of interesting that she reacted that way. Um, but yeah, and I disagree with that. The one thing that I wanted to say about Moldova, and that's why I have the Moldovan flag, which is like the Romanian flag, but with the emblem thing in the middle, on the thumbnail, is that from the beginning, Lizzie is her name. She was talking about like I don't want to downgrade going there. I want to have a dishwasher and or washing machine, whatever she wanted. And I'm like, where do you think you're going? Maybe you should go over there to figure out that this is not like some weird country that doesn't have that ability. I don't know. Um, it's like more expensive, but if it sounds like they will work remotely from here, so they'll have this um, salary, American salary in Moldova, which is you're going to be rich. And so they can afford any luxury they want. They can afford it here, so much even more there. And that was one of his rationale, is that the cost of living is so much lower, and having this money there is going to go so much further. Um, and then this one lady, super annoying. Lauren is her name, and she's Lauren and Alexi. They're the couple, and they have their own issues. And sometimes it makes me think like, don't throw stones if you don't have stones to be thrown at you for or something. I don't think that's a saying. But like her husband body shames her and stuff. Like seeing this like real life, um yeah, I wouldn't be like that loud. And maybe that's why she is so hard on Andre wanting to move his family to Moldova, and how like it's ultimately about the mom, because if the mom's comfortable and safe, that's what matters, because the children will therefore benefit. And if she doesn't, the children will it'll be in the detriment of the children. Um and not that it's like, yeah, false, but the way that her impression of Moldova, because there's this other woman, Yara, and she's from Ukraine. I get her saying that. But like Lauren, who it just sounded very much like she was like, the American way is the best way. Like, why would you go to any other country and live there? Um, and her friend Noga, whatever her name was saying the same thing, echoing that earlier on in the conversation, saying, you came here, you went through a 90-day process, you became a citizen here, and now you want to go back. That's like crazy that you changed your mind. And I'm like, why is that crazy? That is not crazy at all and not unrealistic. But the way that people treated this whole thing was just bothered me so much. Like, America is so great. America is not that great. It's good, but there's things that are really not that great. One of the things that he had said that he wants this move to happen for was family and friends, for their children to grow up in a community, in a family, because they don't have that here with her family. Long story there. And so, like, and just a better way of life in a way, like in a, emotional type of way. Even again, I feel like they will have really good quality of life anyways. But yeah, even if it's like a little less what you have in the house and whatever. But that goes, very far. We'll see. Like, it's not all roses and stuff, because he does something stupid, I guess. I don't know, But I just wanted to speak to that. Just the authority that this Lauren lady has about like this idea that like, why would you take your family to Moldova? Like, dude, you haven't even been there. Why are you judging it? I also think that Moldova is not that great. I think it's like harder of a life than even Romania, and I feel like Romania, depending where you are, is also like it can be more different than here, but it's in some ways like more advanced. So I don't know. And people, friends that I have that are Ukrainian, have talked about like, everyone talks about America being better, and then you come here and it's like, nope. It's actually the opposite. And it's, I guess, also what you put emphasis on. But I think the older you get, especially when you have children, I think the emphasis should be on much more than like conveniences, and more on the community around you, and not just like your family and friends, but like the way society treats life. I would want to raise my children in a society that doesn't like treat them like robots, and like they are not valuable as human beings, and that they have to produce in order to be of value. They have to sell themselves to like great lengths. I would want my children to not be brought up in that. I mean, I may not even have children, and I may not have that choice, but like, I would want that, and they have that possibility, they have that option. So try it out. And maybe they won't like it in Moldova. Maybe he will realize, because that also happens. Like, you go back and you realize, oh shoot, this is not what I remembered. And I'm actually kind of used to the American life. And then you come back here. But that's the wonderful thing. You can do that. You don't have to, like, oh, you got the 90-day fiance visa, you became a citizen here, now you're stuck here. What crap logic is that? And the bigger part is like, don't judge another country. Because the way that she phrased it specifically was like, do you really envision or see your kids there in Moldova or something? As if it was like such like a horrible dirt trash place to be, like the worst place to be caught with children in, you know. And I like this other commenter guy is like, I he probably does, yeah, because like he's from there, he grew up there. I think he actually, Andre, was actually quite nice for the insults and the things that he was like being thrown at, and also his wife not, at least in the edit, sticking up for him. So I think for a hothead that he is, especially, he was pretty good. So that's my 90-day fiance stuff. Not quite recap. And my Blake Lively thing. And yeah, this one was like really weird and pretty short, but I don't know. I made it. I don't know. I feel like in the last few YouTube lives, it's like hit and miss. I don't know. The last month or so, like some are like, oh, it ends up being great. And some are like, oh, I don't know. That seemed like a waste of space. So I don't know. But I did it. I'm here. We'll hopefully have a better one next one. So, like I said on Friday, I'm not going to 100% sure I'm not going to be able to do a live. Um, if any craziness happens, maybe during the day, in the middle of the day, but I doubt it even then. So I will see you likely on Monday, unless I'm completely exhausted and need Monday off, and then it'll be Tuesday. But Monday, as far as I know. Thank you, Arnaldo. That is really sweet. I can't say that I really believe it, you know, or that I really feel awesome, but thank you. Um, yeah. So yeah, happy Wednesday. I hope you have a great week. If anything crazy happens tomorrow, I'll be on tomorrow. But if not, see you Monday, and enjoy, for anyone who's taking more of a social media break and all that stuff, or Blake Lively break. It seems like she'll be here when we get back. You know, like she's not going anywhere for the time being. So we're not gonna miss too much, and it's not anything that we have control over, anyways. So yeah, enjoy your summer, enjoy your July, and have a good night, guys. Thank you. You too. Peace, love, and compassion, and empathy, and critical thinking, and all the good stuff. All right. Bye.